Hi, everyone. I'm Linda McHenry, host of The Writer's Voice, and I have a poet with me today. We haven't had any poets. And Alice Persons is not only a poet, she's also the publisher and editor at Moon Pie Press. How are you, Alice?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Why don't you talk to us today about the poetry outlets? Because they're not quite so plentiful as they are for other types of writing, are they?
No, they're not. And in fact, I think it's fair to say that if you get a poetry book published, it's kind of a miracle because there are so many more good quality poetry books produced each year than there are publishing slots. But that's one reason why people sometimes turn to self-publishing. If you're affiliated with an MFA program or some sort of academic program, sometimes that's helpful.
Yeah.
But the truth is that big publishers don't publish much poetry because it doesn't make much money.
So then it's fair to say that the chances of getting published are quite small.
Yes, you have to be persistent and lucky and have a really good book.
Okay, can you think of any specific tips that you might want to share for
Sure.
people?
Well, I can tell you from my own perspective, having done this, having published poetry books for 17 years, and first of all, you need to honor whatever the publisher is asking of you. So send an inquiry with, say, 5 or 10 poems from your book. And I'm happy to look at, I don't have to have heard of somebody. If you send me an inquiry and say, could you look at these 5 or 10 poems, which are, representative of my book, I have a book of 50 pages or whatever, that's a lot easier for people to handle. And the other big tip I would say is if you have a whole manuscript length book, have at least 5, maybe even 10 of the poems in that book have been published somewhere.
Other
Because
stuff. Now, if you received some poetry from someone who was also published in another genre, does that influence you at all? Or
absolutely it does. And also, of course, the obvious that when you send an inquiry letter or email nowadays, have it spelled correctly, be polite.
Now, for those of you who want to see what the submission guidelines are and read some of the poems, you can find Alice's Moon Pie Press online at moonpiepress.com.
Yes, and Moon Pie Press also has a Facebook page, and I have a blog, which I'd be very happy if people followed my blog. So I don't think we're hard to find online,
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, thank you for joining me. And do keep in touch. We'll have you back again sometime.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.